Afternoon VHR. Second video in the Kromog series, we're going to go over our battle plan. Now, due to the effects of the fight, there's quite a few elements that we need to adjust to. But what we're going to do is cover the responsibilities of each one of the different groups that are present, and then also talk about how we're going to have our standard formation for when phase 1 is active. And then I basically consider at the 1 minute mark, and then every 2 minutes afterwards when he does his combo attack, that I call that phase 2. When he goes into casting Rune of Grasping Earth and then Thundering Blows. So we're going to have a stacked tank formation on the left-hand side at the 9 o'clock position of the boss. There's a rotation debuff that stacks up to 5, but I'd like to taunt between 2 and 3 consistently, so that way we can keep the spikes to a minimum. Basically, it amplifies all the attacks that he does directly onto the tanks. Our position on the left at the 9 o'clock area allows us to be able to focus a lot of the damage that he's going to be doing directly through us and not through melee and range. Having the melee is going to be at 3 o'clock with a 2-yard spread. I'd like you spread from north to south, so you'll basically form your line and then come across. Our heals are going to be present, where we're going to have 2 on the left-hand side, and we're going to have 2 on the right-hand side, and then if we have extra, which we need to start bringing, and then just curve those into DPS as we need to once we've got the mechanics figured out. So that way we have the necessary healing being in place for the tanks and for the melee and the range consistently. Now, our standard formation is going to go with, like I pointed out, tanks here, melee's here with a spread, and then range is going to take the centerpiece with the heals on the outside. I have the 2 heals on this side because it allows healing to be able to go into the melee and also into the range group consistently, and then the same will apply here where we have 2 heals that will be able to go into the range and then also have dedicated healer, for example, to the tanks as we need it. We'll be doing a 3-yard spread. Everybody's going to be pretty much right up on the boss, and that way we can minimize, for example, the cone attack when it does get cast. You'll see it come down. It's very similar to like Gruul, the effect. So what you want to do, except for it's cone instead of a straight line. So what you want to do, since you're closer, means it's going to be smaller. It'll be easier to dodge. So it's going to be pretty much 2 groups right up on it with the tank there. Then when we rotate into phase 2, which is going to happen at 1 minute, and then every 2 minutes afterwards, is we're going to go from our standard formation into a spread formation. Now, what I want to see is us to kind of keep this mold. So the melee is going to take care of everything to the right and down. They're going to clear up all of the runes after he's done with his slams, and then start moving that way. Or Thundering Blows, I'm sorry, not slams. And then move that way to help anybody in this area. Range and the heals that are present in these, they're spread for this reason, so that way the heals can be present in here and the heals can be present in here. The range that's available in this area, it naturally work targets over here to help melee and yourself. Remember though, do not break the rune until after Thundering Blows are done. Then as soon as they're done, clean up and start freeing everybody as quickly as possible so we can return back to our phase 1 form. Okay. Distance that we're going to want to see is about 3 yards or so, because he does have that linear spinning attack that he's going to throw out called reverberations. It's always going to follow up after slam and rippling smash. So when those 2 effects go on, we're going to see that. And the reason why we're going for a 2-yard, 3-yard spread is because from what they look like, that's about the dimension that they are. And we'll just adjust our spread as we need to. But when the attacks come out, basically you got to watch for them. Watch for when also the hands are up, and because they're going to form randomly every 24 seconds or so and then collapse at 25. He does basically a cast, and then he casts on another one when the other one's about to go off. So just watch for the slams when they're coming through in the hands, and we'll just adjust our position as we need to, either forward or backwards, to be able to avoid the attack. And then the spread is general. It's everybody's going to kind of just take a little bit more distance, go from like, I'd say if we're at 3 yards now to 4, the effect is random as far as where they're going to be. So naturally, who knows how far back you'll have to go until we start getting refs in there. But I would imagine that everybody's going to kind of have their own area. So the range and the heals and the tanks on this side are going to kind of have that. Range and heals in this area are going to have this. And then the melee and healers and range over here are going to have this. And then we just adjust accordingly. Remember to watch for different effects. Especially for the DPS, it's going to be really helpful for you to be able to move around properly and free as many people as you can, as quickly as you can. So we'd like to see, like I said, is melee kind of free up this area and range kind of free up that area. And then that way what we got is great coverage all the way around. And the tanks, we'll see if we can get out of the runes on our own. If we can't, then we'll just assign, for example, a range to help us with it, and then go from there. Healers, it says that tanks are going to be taking a lot of damage, so we'll just have to make sure that we're paying attention for it, especially during slam. You're also going to see when slam goes off a raid-wide AoE damage that's moderate. It's unavoidable, so we just have to watch for that when it's spiking. During the rune of Grasping Earth and Thunder Blows mechanic, especially during Frenzy, Devo is really super strong. So we're healing at 30% anyway because of the Frenzy, and then we'll rotate through Devos as we have them, and we'll just do Might Call Out, so that way each one will be set to go. Make sure that range you're avoiding Rippling Smash and Reverberations as they come through. Remember, one is cone, the other one is circular, 3 to 4 yards in dimension, so it's just a sidestep really for both of them. But the further you are from Kromog, the more width will be present in the cone attack. I'm sure that it'll travel probably a majority of the stage, for example. So it can get pretty large towards the back end of it once it hits to the rune. Remember also to help with breaking the Grasping Earths after Thundering Blow. It's essential that we get it right. And most of these mechanics and whatnot are going to happen in the first minute, and then when the phase 2 element, or the attack goes on that we've discussed, is that if we end up not doing well on it, it's going to be a quick reset. So it's going to be able to give us a lot of reps to be able to get it correctly. But let's make sure that we're studying up and we know what we're doing, so that way we can properly address it as we go. If you have any questions, hit me up online, in game, or for example, write comments below or on our Facebook or website page, and I'll see everybody in game. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please click like, share, and I'll see you in the next series.